Hello, welcome again to the Elemental I Ching. And today, these last few days, we've just moved into the bottom trigram of the water, the moving, running water of the river of devotion, the abysmal river, the abyss that we have to dive into, that we have to commit fully into this stream of life and watch where it takes us. And I'll share this story later with GK7, but it's an important axiom that I find the Taoist mystics have said, is that the most dangerous part of the river is at the slippery banks of half-heartedness. That's where we slip and break our neck. So when we come to the river, it's either time to dive in directly into the heart of danger, because that eye of the storm is the clearest pathway. It's the most safe part of the roaring river. And it will take us wherever it's going to take us, this river of life, this river of change, of dynamism. Devote long enough, follow the devotional arc all the way through, past the illusions of obscurations, the challenges that come to us to teach us, but we follow and trust in that river's bend and ebb and flow, all the way back home to the source, to the ocean of love. Or walk away from that river if it's not the right choice, if it's not the correct choice. Don't dilly-dally at the slippery banks of half-heartedness. And so as we move into this energy of water, there's dynamism, there's movement. You know, we've been working on this mountain for many weeks, this anchoring into the body, into this present moment. And now the waters want to move us and teach us about flow, to embody devotion and commitment and communication that comes from that devotion, from that prayer. So for the next few weeks, we're going to be drinking in water, sacred water. May all the waters run pure and clean in our bodies and in the world. May we trust the flow of life as it takes us on this sometimes turbulent river rapids of life, sometimes the trickling peace of the creek. But we have to trust in that unknown. And today is actually a lunar eclipse was this morning as I was drinking my tea and soaking in the vibrations. I have my new journal here with Autumn Sky's beautiful moon temple. And this knowing of these deep eclipse period that we're in right now. And there's been a lot of energy that's been stirred up and is stirring up in preparation for this big solar eclipse in 2 weeks. And so in this time of pause, can we receive the medicine of the mountain and move into the devotion of the water? And we're going to dance with the water archetype as it dances with all the other 8 elements of the Bagua. Starting today with GK7, the vision, guidance, and virtue. The waters hidden beneath the earth. The fertile yin, essence of life, the receiving of life from heaven, from earth, nourishing this water as it flows, and how our commitment can orient us to life, how we can commit to the heart of the moment and let the river guide us naturally, effortlessly, to that unity and devotion of virtue. To vision as a shadow in this Bagua game is dislocation and half-heartedness. When we feel separate from others, or when we make actions or words, when we communicate from that half-hearted place of fear and anxiety and mistrust, then we dislocate ourselves from others, from the heart of others. And division the dilemma of division is the dilemma of boundaries, healthy boundaries, banks of the river. You know, it requires that divine no, the banks of the river, in order for the yes of that water to flow effortlessly and pure and true. And one of the, this is in the I Ching, this is called the army, and or discipline. And the army is a powerful term to really look at right now and at a time when That energy of war is bubbling up from the surface. So what current are we following? You know, there's a discernment here, the programming partner, a discernment. What are we being guided by? What impulses from inside are we actually following and being guided by? And the dilemma of not getting lost in other people's current. Every being has their own current of life. So this key, this hexagram, is all about receiving ourselves through the motion of life. And even receiving our own center, reorganizing ourselves to our center by being in loving service to the all. But to not get lost in that and the other, in this current of life. You know, we need to stay strong and lucid to following the devotional arc all the way through. And this yin of the receptive earth is reminding us to pause into that depth, to discover the depth of devotion beneath the surface. There's this metaphor with the 7 and the 13, that the 7 is pulling us into the future, guiding us into the future, the songs of the stars that are teaching us of the new way. And we're being pushed by the past, that evolutionary current of the 13 that's purifying our past, that fire that's purifying our past, our karma, as we're being pulled into the future. And as we sit with the sun illuminating GK7, my invitation, as dear brother Theo said to a friend of mine, when the snake is shedding its skin and becoming something new, what are we paying attention to? The skin that we're leaving behind, or the snake that we are becoming? The new life that we are becoming. You know, this is an energy of movement and time, and here in the northern hemisphere we're in summer, and there's, you know, I'm about to go on tour, there's all this dynamic motion of what I'm becoming. And as change has manipulated my surroundings so that a new chapter is being born, can I commit completely to that new chapter and trust where that river is taking me? So guidance, being guided by life and being a guide for others, is about orienting ourselves through commitment. Commitment to this moment, commitment to love in this moment, regardless of the turbulent waves. Compassion to the turbulent waves, but here we are on our path, following that current of love, following our true genius as it emerges, following the current of our purpose, bubbling from this relaxed state, orienting ourselves. You know, notice when we feel lost and hazy and confused, dislocated, and we may begin making half-hearted decisions, or because of our half-hearted decisions, whether it's a full yes or a full no, right? We're stuck in the dynamic pull of should I go, should I stay? And that moment is where we are actually dislocated, where we will suffer in the division. Or we can orient ourselves to the fact that life is always changing. The only constant in life is change. Sometimes it feels better to stay in the safety of what we know, the comfort of what we know, but there's something guiding us, pushing us forward. But it's also the key of discipline. You know, commitment is a very disciplined act. So we orient ourselves through discipline, through truly committing to the values we stand for. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. So instead of getting lost in the current of others, especially the larger conditioned kind of mass consciousness that's generally acting from that shadow fear-based perspective. You know, the water is about danger. And danger is a crisis, and it's an opportunity. But it's something to be mindful of. We can't just be dilly-dally in the half-hearted banks. We have to commit deeply to the heart of the danger. Not, you know, be mindful of your physical surroundings. The danger of the water is teaching us to stay alert, to stay aware of our body, of our heart, of our soul as we progress through these dynamic changes. And because we're guided by virtue, by the unity that emerges through devotion. You know, the virtue that goes beyond this body, beyond this lifetime, beyond the fears of failure, of death, of destruction, of all the divisive nature of war and of intolerance and all of these deep, you know, emotional waves that are coming to the surface to be purified, to be healed, to be seen, to be loved. But we're being guided by a love so pure, so beyond that. So can we drink in that devotion? Drink in that trust beyond trust. The discipline emerges when we can have that focus, that powerful focus without charge against others. Remember all this work with the mountain of sovereignty, of being at ease with what is and what is becoming. And now as we flow down the river, we have to carry that medicine of the mountain as it becomes this fluid life nectar that includes all of that suffering, all of that intolerance, all of that division, all of that hatred. And it alchemizes it through devotion. You know, so we dissolve our charge against others and others' beliefs or external circumstances, but we stay committed to the warrior of the heart, to the leadership that is emerging from the heart that can listen. This key is all about listening. To listen to the group, the harmony of the group that's emerging, to influence by receiving our communication. Not just sharing what we think should happen. That's where the power takes control without wisdom and love. It takes control and it manipulates the situation, which is why people can get lost in the currents of others' ideals, others' agendas. So we're dropping the agenda, dissolving the agenda, so that the truth can emerge from the moment. This is the water hidden beneath the earth that bubbles up as a new spring of life. These deep reservoirs of wisdom, devotion, and love, and compassion that's always there beneath the surface, waiting for its moment to emerge and flow through life. So may this day be filled, be nourished by the devotional waters. And maybe take some time, especially if you can have running water near you, to sit with the water, to drink in the water, to thank the water of life that purifies just by moving, constantly pouring itself effortlessly through the path of least resistance, guided by the very gravity of love. May we act virtuously, commit to love in every interaction, stand for the values that need to be honored and claimed. But we do so without calling on that lower army of dominance and destruction. A warrior is one who stands for something, for a value beyond themselves, for a virtuous act. So we receive and then communicate with that devotional love, so we may influence this world by inspiring instead of controlling, by opening our hearts and knowing that this grand symphony is far beyond what the mind can create or control. So let's surrender into the current of love as she sings her song through us. Many blessings.